Buddy, what's going on? Jeremy from Motivate Me. Thanks for joining me for another session and exercise workout today. We're going to be focusing on a freestyle type of exercise, by which I'm basically going to go off the top of my head, putting together a list of exercises from the bottom of the feet all the way to the tip top of the head. We're going to be focusing on our health and skill related components of physical fitness. This goes for any age group, any fitness level, and any functional abilities or limitations that we have. The exercises and workout that we experience are going to be based on our imagination. And so I said to myself, hey, I've got my chair and I've got my exercise equipment, my resistance bands and my dumbbells and my tripod just handy right in my pocket. Why not come out to the amphitheater, the local one here in my town, and let's get it in a little bit. So today we're going to be freestyling. So if you see me kind of like take a second to collect myself, I am going to be sweating a little bit most likely. It's a little warm out. Got a nice cool breeze in here, so hopefully that'll help a little bit. I've got my water with me as well as my equipment again, and we'll be using a combination of resistance exercises and cardiovascular endurance type of exercises as well. Remember, we're going to be focusing on our bone density and muscle mass. If you're a younger person, we're trying to gain our genetic apex, right? We're trying to get into the best shape that we can at a younger age to become more resilient through life. And as we age, remember, your bone density decreases, your muscle mass decreases, and we want to manage those things. These are basic exercises to get you in motion, to help you develop your own ideas about what physical fitness and being in motion and exercise, what those things are to you moving forward in your life. So with that being said, let's go ahead and freestyle a little bit. And I've already listened to my music. I've already gone on my walk. I've already warmed up. I did one full set of pull-ups. These were my personal goals that I set for myself on a daily basis to ensure I do my 200 push-ups a day and my full set of maximal amounts of pull-ups. So I'm already warmed up, but we are going to do a warm-up here with this exercise, and then we'll get into some of the exercises that I want to share with you for this specific session. There will be no time limit, but we're going to try to go off the top of my head freestyle for about 15 minutes with minimal breaks. If you need to stop for anything, please do so. Pause the video and get yourself a drink of water, breathing in deeply and out, and we're focusing on our posture while we're doing that. Remember, our posture is going to emanate that energy force into the universe for us to carry ourselves to a higher standard just for today and see where that takes us for our future day after day, and to developing a good repetition of physical fitness. So with that being said, let's get started, y'all. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started with our workout of the day. Again, we're going to be freestyling for about 15 minutes from the bottom of the feet all the way to the top of the head. We're going to be using a combination of body weight and resistance exercises with our chair, our light, medium, and heavy resistance bands. My resistance bands are the flat kind. You can also use tube bands. You can use any type of other band equipment that you might have. We also have our 5-pound dumbbells. I use the 5-pounders. I used to use the 2-pounders and then graduated to 3-pounders and now the 5-pounders. That's for my preference. You can use soup cans, water bottles, anything that you want for a little bit of added resistance and body weight. Remember, anytime we pick those bands up or that equipment up, we're increasing our body weight during these exercises, okay? Of course, I've got my water with me, so we'll be taking the occasional break just to make sure that we can stay hydrated throughout the session for the rest of the day. All right, so getting started again, as I mentioned earlier, I already warmed up, but we're gonna go ahead and warm up again anyway, keeping that posture upright, and we're breathing in deeply and out. Remember, no shallow breathing today. We're coming into this exercise this morning with a good attitude, enthusiasm, and of course, a smile. So we're going to hold ourselves to that higher standard today and work for about 15 minutes. We're going to get that blood flowing, the heart pumping, getting the blood flowing into the bones, into the muscles, all right? Those are the things we're going to be focusing on with these types of exercises, and I'll explain and be talking throughout the whole session today. Don't worry about that. So we'll go ahead. This is just a basic march in place, keeping those knees up. Now, if you are at a higher level, I like to march in place or jog in place, keeping those knees high. Now, of course, as you can see, I'm going to have some issues with that equipment, as I can already tell. We're just going to go with it anyway. Who cares? All right, so basically we're getting the blood flowing. I like to jump rope. All right, so I like to throw punches before I train. right? So what we're doing is basically activating those shoulder muscles, right? And this thing is going to get crazy on me. We'll do the best we can. Don't mind me. Maybe I'll tuck that shirt in. All right. So again, I like to throw punches in my warm-ups just to get the blood flowing a little bit. And so we can bring those arms out and across the body. All right. And so basically what I'm doing, activating those shoulders with a little bit of torso twist action. We're going to keep that posture upright with our hips squared to the center, right? Knees slightly bent. Basic warrior stance is what we like to have, right? So we're absorbing a little bit with those knees, throwing those punches. I'm going to take that left hand or right hand, and we're just going to go at different angles. You don't have to be the most coordinated person. You don't have to have experience with throwing punches. All we're going to do is activate those muscles, come down and up. We can come down and up, switching opposite side. This is kind of your hook. Coming down and up, throwing some uppercuts, feet shoulder width apart again. Notice a little bending in those knees. We're coming down into a semi-squat and then thrusting up with those arms one at a time. Nice deep breathing in and out. All right, back to your marching in place, bouncing in place. I like to get into a nice little rhythm. Sometimes I'll step to the side, each side, right? So I'm keeping a nice little base for balance. All right, always in that mode of resilience, all right? So we want to make sure we're in that basic warrior stance and in that spirit of motion. So we can step back. A lot of times we'll march in place, stepping forward and back. We can step to the side. We can step either side. Right, so now we're incorporating some lateral movement, activating those hip abductors, all right, also those hip flexors. So we can take that right arm, bring it up, and then bring it down to that left knee. So now we're spending a little bit of time with balance. All right, now as you're doing that, remember, we're activating the balance muscles from the top of the hip to the balls of the feet. Staying in motion, nice deep breathing in and out. We're going to warm up for about 4 or 5 minutes, right? And then we can always switch. Now, for those who have an issue with balance, that's quite all right. We can always step back, right? And use that chair for a little bit of balance or whatever furniture. If you're working from inside of the house, right? We can always use our furniture. The back of the couch is fine, right? What we're going to do with that hip abduction is we're going to take that left leg, bring it across the right leg, and then out to an abduction here. What we're doing is we're taking that heavy leg that you have and we're shifting that body weight significantly to the point where our stabilizers have to activate. That's all we're doing, activating some muscles for future use throughout your day. For those of you with smartphones, your phone's going to track the number of steps you take in a day, and thus it can calculate the amount of time you spend on one foot and can thus predict your risk of fall and injury. Let's go ahead and switch. Right? So we want to spend some time on one foot. Deep breathing in and out. All right. Now, some folks, to challenge themselves, you can pick up dumbbells and you can do the exercise. Notice that it's going to increase my body weight and make it a little more challenging to balance, all right? Now I'm trying to walk, talk, and chew bubble gum at the same time, which can be difficult for a guy like me, so forgive me if I trip over and fall off the amphitheater stage. All right, so we're just switching back, activating those muscles in our core area and in our hips. Remember, that's our center of gravity in this region of our core area. All right, we'll go ahead from here. You can actually use, we'll start with the higher intensity warm up here with our rotator cuff. So basically what we're going to be doing is taking those arms, straightening them out, and rotating your hands inside and out. This is activating your rotator cuff muscles. Now, I do recommend folks do this without any type of equipment, just with your body weight. If you're a beginner or you have limitations and you may have suffered previously injuries to your shoulders, you can always just use your body weight, right? So we bring those arms out. We can bring those arms forward and up in the air just like so. Remember, keeping that posture upright, breathing in deeply and out. No shallow breathing, right? Nice bouncing. All right, notice I've got a wide base. I can widen my base a little bit. I can bring it in. All right, marching in place. You can do the same thing, bringing it out. We are going to be doing some wide base squats today. As a matter of fact, we'll probably get into those first, right? So even if we're jump roping or running in place, right? Out and back in. All right, so what we can go ahead and start with from here are those wide base squats. Now we're going to be doing isometric squats as well as the basic squat, right? So what we're going to do is shuffle those feet slowly out for safety reasons. If you need a chair, set the chair in front of you, just like so, right? And all we're going to do is spread those legs out, and we're going to squat down and back up. Clenching those abdominal muscles as you come up, clenching those rear muscles here in the rear with the gear, clenching briefly, and then coming right back down and right back up. Down and up, down and up. So we're targeting various areas of the inner leg muscles. All right. Another variation of this, feet shoulder width apart, coming down into a basic squat and up. Again, clenching. What we're doing when we're clenching, we're actually contracting those muscles and exercising them. And I always find that I'm clenching those muscles while simultaneously clenching a lot of the muscles in my upper arm area, as well as other muscles in my body. Nice deep breathing in and out. You can do a combination. This is for higher intensity, higher skill levels. We're going to be doing jump ups momentarily here. All right, so we're doing nice squats. Notice my back is straight. All right, it's not hunched over here. We're straight. We got a lot of power right here in the thighs. I mean, you could keep those hands in. I kind of throw my hands all over the place sometimes, right? You're going to feel a lot of fatigue in those muscles. Nice deep breath in and out. Posture upright. Nice and easy. Arms in and out. All right, one exercise I like to do here, taking the palm, having it down on the ground just like so, pointed towards the ground. And what I'm going to go ahead and do, bringing that arm in a circular motion, like so. Now, when I get to the starting position, I stop and go in the opposite direction. When I get there, I stop and go in the opposite. So we're stopping that momentum and restarting it. Creating a kind of a twitch sensation in that shoulder. Same thing here. What I'm going to do is have my palm towards the camera, right, to the front. I'm going to bring it in and out. Now when I bring it in, I'm going to stop that momentum and then go back. All the way out, full range of motion. Now this is important for boxers, for example, when you're throwing punches and you want to stop and come back to guard yourself. So when you're throwing punches, you're coming back to protect yourself, right? And so what we're doing is providing that fast twitch from different angles. We're twisting, rotating in and out. Notice I am using my hips a bit, but we're still keeping those hips squared. We can switch. In and out. Around and round. I'm stopping and going the opposite direction. You can do it slowly or more quickly. That's completely up to you. All right, variations of our jump ups. Now, I'm gonna make sure my microphone equipment is good to go, nice and easy. Anybody ever seen a cat before they're about to pounce? They kind of get their muscles ready. They're activating those muscles and you'll see them kind of like work like a crouching tiger. That's kind of what I like to do. I like to always stay moving even when I'm resting, right? That's kind of my rest, is to stay in motion, regather myself, let my energy systems replenish, and get ready for the next exercise. So what we'll do from here, keeping our feet shoulder width apart, we're gonna go from the highest intensity to the lowest intensity, right? So basically what we're gonna do here is a jump up. Now, I'm gonna be using 5-pound dumbbells, right? I've graduated to these from basic body weight, and just as a demonstration, feet shoulder width apart, back straight, arms here, and we're gonna come up and back down, a soft landing. Now, if you're able to, we're going to jump as high as we can, activating those calf muscles, leg extension, hamstrings, quadriceps, the whole 9 yards, postural muscles. Notice my back is straight. All right, body weight, same thing, minus the dumbbells. Now, for those of a lower level of fitness or with functional limitations with balance or strength, we're going to have shoulder width apart with our feet, up and down, staying on the balls of our feet. Notice my heels come up. It's a small jump. So we have all those compressive forces coming down onto our muscles and our bones. This assists us with bone density, right? Handling that body weight. If you need assistance with a chair, feel free to try to use a chair maybe that's a little higher, but you can always keep your hands on that chair coming up, thrusting yourself up with your calves onto the balls of your feet, and then back down. The farther down you can go, the better. If you need assistance with that chair, that's perfectly fine. Down and up. So we're thrusting ourselves up. Or we can do small jumps. I like to do a combination of them. Notice I'm shifting body weight, bouncing a little bit. So we warmed up with some of these movements, and now we know why, right? Nice bouncing up and down. If you're capable of doing this movement at this intensity, I recommend doing it. All right, from here we're gonna go right back out. Wide base squat, down and up. Down and up. Again, clinching. Down and up. And up. Good work. All right, and from here, quick little breather if you need water. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and take my drink. We're freestyling here. Not gonna stop the clock. It's just a good way to stay in motion. From the standing position, we're just gonna throw some punches here. Non-violent, of course, right? This is our 1-2. Throwing a nice little combination. You could keep your feet shoulder width apart. I like to do this where I'm just throwing the 1-2, right? And you can take those hands and rotate them in and out. So now we're introducing different angles for the rotator cuff, but also our shoulder flexion here, right? All those muscles that we're activating, keeping that posture upright while we do so. All right, now comes the fun part. Everyone just loves push-ups. We are going to be doing variations of the push-up. We'll go away from the lower body here for a minute, and all we're gonna do is come down. I want a full max set of push-ups. We'll start with the lightest intensity, all right, and then work our way up. So this is a modified version where you're on your knees on the floor, right? And you're pushing down with your knees on the floor. There are many names for it. I just call it a push-up. That's all there is to it. All right, a more difficult version, like a military style push-up, you can have both feet on the ground. I like to put one leg up. Forces a little extra balance in your core area. All right, so we're working our core muscles. Notice my back is not here. It's not here. It's perfectly straight in a planking position. Extending those arms up and bending those elbows, bringing the chest to the ground and back up. So we're gonna work our chest muscles, our triceps and our shoulders, our deltoids. All right, in the event that we're not able to do a push-up, have no fear, Jeremy is here. I'm gonna use my heavy band. You can combine bands at any point. We're gonna use the heavy band, and what we're gonna do is take that band, place it behind the back and under the shoulders. And from here, we can go ahead and start our chest press. Now, mind you, the band's under the shoulders. Notice I've got plenty of tension with the elbows bent, like so. And all we're doing is pushing forward. Feet shoulder width apart. Breathing out as we push. All right, and we can go up above the head into a shoulder press, working the deltoids. We've got that band under the armpits for a specific reason. We don't want that band rolling out from behind our back. Good work. And then we can go forward. Now we want to go to fatigue if we're on the ground with those push-ups. It's going to be difficult to go to fatigue with these, but you'll feel definitely a little bit of burning sensation in those muscles. Don't worry. That's just muscle fatigue, a little bit of lactic acid buildup. A nice little break and breather takes care of that. So we'll go ahead, breathing in deeply and out. No problem. Right? From here, we're going to go ahead and take our medium band. And again, please feel free to use any band that you want to challenge yourself. For instructional purposes, we're going to use the medium band. I like to place the band under both feet, feet shoulder width apart, equal amount of length on both sides. And all we're going to do is make sure we have plenty of space to the left and right to step. Taking that band and crossing it. So we're switching hands. We start here, we switch hands, crossing the band, and we're going to step. Keeping those hands about hip width apart or shoulder width apart, right? Never touching your feet together. Normally, I'll take about 4 steps per side. I want to make sure I can stay in the camera frame here. And we're just going back and forth. Notice that my biceps are curled. All right, so we're using isometric exercises here along with our lateral movement. Overloading from a lateral perspective, we take that band, we just activated those muscles earlier. Now we're going to overload those muscles. What we're going to do are variations of a side lunge. Taking the left leg, plenty of space to the left to step, we're going to lunge. Shifting the body weight onto that leg and then back up. A modified version that's a little more difficult that essentially is a modified one-legged squat. You're lunging, shifting your body weight and coming up into the starting position, but you've shifted from one point to another. You're not going back there. You're coming all the way to a new position and then you're going back. Same concept, shifting body weight and you're coming up using one leg. So you're spending time on one leg. This one comes off the ground and you're forcing the outside part of that quadricep to activate, right? So we're targeting different parts of that quadricep in the front as well as the hip extenders in the rear. All the way down. The farther down you go, the more difficult it is. right? Perhaps you'll feel a little stretch in the groin area. This is a nice little stretch where you can go into a swan pose for yoga, for example. Right, so we're lifting that area up here. The thoracic rib cage responsible for our breathing that we neglect often. And you can do any number of repetitions that you want, whatever you're comfortable with, and then you go beyond that to challenge yourself a little bit. You'll start breathing more. You'll start to feel some fatigue in those muscles. And again, feel free to step behind the chair and use the chair to your advantage. All right, for a little bit of support. If that's what we need, that's fine. And that goes with both hands as well. So we've gone over that. What we're going to go ahead and do is grab the medium band again, breathing in deeply and out. Feet shoulder width apart, right? Just like so. Same concept. We're going to take that band, switch hands, creating a cross effect here. And all we're going to do is take those elbows and bring them out and up into a standing shoulder fly. So we did our shoulder press, and now we're overloading with a shoulder fly. And again, feel free to use a heavier band or a lighter band, depending on what your functional abilities are and your fitness level. I like to breathe out when I'm expending that energy towards the exercise, and breathing back in. Breathing out, breathing in, right? Another thing that we can do with this one to modify it is hang with those arms straight down. All right, back stays straight, but we're hinging at the hips, and then we're going to bring those elbows up and behind. So this is a hanging row, all right? So it's similar to if you were in the gym and you're pulling a cable machine back to the rear. We're just targeting other muscle groups. We've got little muscles that connect our spine and our shoulder blade. We want to wake those things up. We're not trying to be out here looking like the Incredible Hulk, or some people might be. We're just trying to vascularize ourselves, vascularize that mind, vascularize our bones and our muscles, get that blood pumping, right? So good work with that. With that, I'm going to switch to the heavy band. I got to challenge myself to finish off here. All right, and what we're going to do is take that band, placing it under both feet, shoulder width apart, and we're going to conduct our bicep curls to finish. Feet shoulder width apart again, posture upright. I like to breathe out as I push, or in this case, curl. Breathing in, breathing out. You can go at your own intensity, at your own pace. I like to go from between 40 and 70 seconds for time under tension. I could teach a class about that. All right. So I've got that heavy band going. Breathing deeply. No shallow breathing today. All right, and we'll give ourselves a nice little break and pat on the back, taking a break, breathing in, breathing out, get your water. We're at 25 minutes, folks. I went way over, didn't I? But we'll work with it. I did the best I could with that one. All we're going to do is, number one, it probably would have been in between maybe 20 and 21 minutes without the instruction so much or the variations, but you know what you're doing and what you're capable of. So it's important that we show all those different variations and modifications to those exercises. With that being said, we're just going to cool down. I recommend I stay up and active a little bit. I like to just kind of pace back and forth a little bit, reflect on what I just did, drink my water, and get ready for the rest of the day. And so with that being said, we'll go ahead and call it quits from there. Thank you everyone for joining me. Any questions or comments, please leave them down below in the comment section. Like the video, also subscribe. I love comments from folks that I know and don't know, so feel free to leave anything down there just to say what's up. And with that being said, thank you everyone. See, the birds, they like the video. They want another one. So we'll keep this up and keep it going. Stay motivated, stay dedicated, stay hydrated.